Welcome back, students. In our previous video, we have learnt about absorption of water and minerals in plants. We have also learnt about osmosis and diffusion. So just to be brief, osmosis is the movement of water molecules through a semi-permeable membrane from a region of its higher concentration to a region of its lower concentration. And diffusion is the movement of salt or minerals from a region of its higher concentration to a region of its lower concentration. Now we will do a small activity to demonstrate the process of osmosis. For this experiment, we require a large potato tuber, a beaker with water, a strong sugar solution. For the procedure, we will take the potato tuber, peel it nicely, and cut one end of the potato tuber to make it flat. At the other end, you will scoop out some of the potato to make a cavity inside. In that cavity, you will pour a strong sugar solution, that is a concentrated sugar solution. Mark the initial level of the sugar solution with a ballpoint pen or use a pin to mark the level. This whole setup is called potato osmoscope. This potato osmoscope is kept in a beaker containing red colored water. After a few hours, you will see that the level of sugar solution inside the osmoscope will rise and the sugar solution inside the osmoscope will be red. This is because of osmosis. Water molecules have moved through the cell membrane of the potato cells from outside to inside. That is, outside there is a higher concentration of water than the inside. Inside is concentrated sugar solution and outside is water concentration in higher levels. So water has moved towards the sugar solution. The cell membrane of the potato cells act as semi-permeable membrane. Let us understand the differences between osmosis and diffusion. Osmosis is the movement of water molecules through a semi-permeable membrane from a region of their higher concentration to a region of their lower concentration. Diffusion is the movement of salt or mineral molecules from a region of their higher concentration to a region of their lower concentration. Osmosis takes place only in a liquid medium. Diffusion can take place in any medium such as solid, liquid, and gas. Diffusion can take place in solids because if two solids are kept in close contact, the atoms can diffuse from one place to another and it is a very slow process. Solids can diffuse into gas, like we have the example of smoke and automobile dust. Liquids can diffuse into gas, which can be seen in cloud formation and fog. Likewise, diffusion of gas into liquid and gas into solid also can take place. So this is to say that diffusion takes place in any medium, whereas osmosis takes place only in liquid medium. Osmosis requires a semi-permeable membrane. Diffusion does not require any semi-permeable membrane. Osmosis is a slow process. Diffusion comparatively is a faster process in gases and slow in liquids. Now we also have an experiment to show that water is transported through the xylem. For this experiment, you will take a soft twig or a branch of a flowering plant and put it in a beaker containing water. Add a few drops of red ink to the water and leave the twig in the water for half an hour. After half an hour, cut a thin slice of the stem and keep it on a glass slide. Put a few drops of water on the slide and observe it under a microscope. What will you see? You will see that only the xylem is stained with ink. This is to say that water is transported only through the xylem. Let us now move on to understand transport of food from leaves. Sugar molecules are manufactured in the green leaves of a plant, and this is by a process called photosynthesis. After they are synthesized, the sugar molecules are transported throughout the plant. Phloem does this duty. The transport of soluble products of photosynthesis, that is, the sugar molecules, is called translocation. We have already studied about the phloem. Phloem has cells called sieve tubes. These sieve tubes are placed one above the other to form long tubes. Through these tubes, food is transported. Remember, phloem consists of sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and phloem fibers. Out of these, the sieve tubes are helping in transport of food. Next, we will study about the role of minerals in plants. We already know that plants take up essential minerals from the soil. Plants require about 17 minerals for their proper growth and development. These minerals are not only in sufficient quantities but are also in appropriate ratios. The minerals that are required in large quantities are called macronutrients. That is, 0.2 to 0.4% of the dry weight of the plant is required. These macronutrients are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, calcium, and magnesium. These are some examples of macronutrients. The minerals that are required in very minute quantities are called the micronutrients. These are measured in parts per million, ppm. ppm is the way of expressing very dilute concentrations. So, micronutrients are required in 0.1 to 0.02% of the dry weight of the plant. Boron, manganese, chlorine, iron, zinc, copper, nickel, and molybdenum are examples of micronutrients. Micronutrients are also called trace elements. What are the importance of minerals in plants? Minerals are important for number 1, growth and development. Number 2, formation of the plant body. Several minerals are constituents of the protoplasm and the cell wall of the plant. Number 3, they help in maintenance of cell shape. Minerals are found in the cell sap. And it is necessary for absorption of water and maintenance of turgidity or rigidity of the cell and cell shape. Then finally, phloem transport. Boron and potassium help in translocation of food through the phloem. When plants do not get the essential mineral nutrients in the right quantities, they may suffer from deficiency diseases. What are these deficiency diseases and what are their symptoms? The nutrient nitrogen, if it is deficient, it leads to a disease in the cotton plant called red leaf of cotton. In this condition, the plant shows poor growth and wilting. Wilting means the plant will droop, leaves at the lower level turn yellow due to the lack of respiration. The leaf margins become yellow and later they show red pigmentation on the whole leaf. Reddening progresses further to the stems and to the other leaves. Then these and balls start shedding. Deficiency of phosphorus leads to dwarf cotton. The plant shows poor and stunted growth. Stunted means the plant is short. The leaves turn bluish green or purple in color. Deficiency of zinc leads to a condition called chlorosis. In this condition, photosynthesis in the plant is affected. The leaves turn yellow and the leaves may become dwarf. Deficiency of potassium causes curling of leaf tips. The leaf tips start curling and the leaves turn brown with yellow spots between leaf veins. Iron is another essential nutrient. If it is deficient, it causes Lyme-induced chlorosis. In this condition, the leaves turn yellow or brown in the margins. Young leaves may show bleaching and the plants produce poor quality fruits. So from this we know that how essential nutrients are for the plant growth. Nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium are primary nutrients required by the plants. Example, nitrogen is essential for plant growth and is a part of every living cell. It is necessary for the synthesis of chlorophyll. Phosphorus is also essential for growth. Potassium is necessary for photosynthesis and protein synthesis. Sulfur is a part of every living cell and is also required for proteins. Boron is essential for rapid growth and cell wall formation. So these are some of the important minerals required by plants. To show that food is transported through the phloem, we have a small activity. Take a plant with a thick stem. Remove the outer bark. The outer bark has the phloem tissue. So you will remove the outer bark and along the middle of the main stem for about 4 inches. The central core of the stem will remain, only the outer bark is removed. Water the pot regularly and observe it after a few days. What will you see? The stem shows swelling in the upper portion. This is due to accumulation of food material because the phloem was removed and it blocked the downward movement of food. So from this we can say that phloem transports food materials.